No, I'm just walking around. Buenos días, clase.
Buenos días.
Wow. Buenos días. Profe Tripp. Profe Tripp? Sí. Sí, Profe Tripp. Yeah. Presidente Tripp? No, Presidente Tripp. Profe Tripp. Profe Tripp. Doctor Tripp? Un momento. Doctor. Raise your hand if you know what that word is, doctor, when I said doctor. Okay. You might get it now. Doctor. Doctor. Doctor Tripp? No. Profe Tripp. No, Doctor Tripp. Clase. Profe Tripp o Presidente Tripp? Profe Tripp. Ah, sí. Presidente Tripp? No. Doctor Tripp? No. Profe Tripp? Sí. Bien. Clase. Profe Obama? No, Profe Obama. Profe Tripp. All right. Muy bien. Thank you guys very much. So my name is Jim Tripp, and I'm going to be presenting on setting the tone, just trying to be present, calm, slow, confident. That's really hard sometimes, but I'll talk with you guys about ways that we can try to remain calm, remain confident when we have a group of 30 or more or less teenagers, little kids, university kids looking at us. Our instruction, waiting for us to teach them Spanish or French or German or whatever. What do you guys teach? German teachers? Any? Oh, awesome. Nice. French teachers? Spanish? Japanese? Mandarin? Yes. What I forget? Italian? Any other sign language? Portuguese? No. That's it? No more? All right. So this is actually basically. It seems not really being very innovative, but this is one thing that I just haven't changed because it seems like it works really well every year at setting the tone, getting students to understand that what we're going to do in class is communicate from the very first day. And this is actually something I learned from Ben Slavic in his Laramie handouts when I was first beginning to use TPRS and comprehensible input strategies in the classroom. So this takes about 5 minutes? Did that take about 5 minutes? Maybe. Yeah, maybe not even that. And then I stop and I just kind of debrief really quickly, not debrief with my students, but just say hello, welcome. And what I'm going to do next, I'm not going to have you guys do this, but what I would do next is I would tell everybody to, well, first I didn't do this because you guys all found your own seats, but I have a seating chart. So students are coming into class, and I'm going to stand by the door, and I'm going to make sure I give them space, but I also want to make sure they're not just walking right through without looking at me, without engaging me. I want to make sure that I make contact with them before they step into the classroom. So I usually do a handshake and a smile, and not like a really big cheery smile. I'm glad Bryce is here because this is something I heard from him, and I've just been hearing about it again in a book called Words Can Change Your Brain. Is that what it's called? The Mona Lisa smile. Yeah, he's got it right there. It was up on the table. The Mona Lisa smile, that smile that comes across your face when you think about the most pleasant thing in your life. Maybe it's a person, maybe it's an activity. So I'm going to think about my daughter when we're cuddling up on the couch and she wants to read a book. Oh, that makes me so happy and that makes me smile. So that's what I'm going to try to think about. Not any stressful things, not about am I going to be able to do everything that I want to do today in class? After this year, are they all going to think I'm dressed really silly? Yes, that's always. But I'm going to calm down right before I even go outside. I'm going to open the door. I can't really hold it open, but make sure I make. And that I use, and it is really simple to fill out. What did I do with my? Would you? Yeah. Thank you. So they're going to be, most of them will probably have an easy time finding their seat. My room's set up as like kind of like a semicircle with two sides, and there's a row down the middle. It's more facing this way than it is the back of the room. But it's pretty simple to figure out. There's always a kid struggling to find their seat once I come into the room, once everybody's in. And then I help them find their seat, and I don't actually start class until everybody's in their seat and I'm ready to go. They can chat for a few minutes right away. I'm okay with that. As long as when I start, I'm ready to go. Kind of like I did with you guys. It was about 5 after when I started. So, but once we start, I just stand there and I make sure that I don't say anything if anybody's talking. If I was on this question, Dr. Tripp or Profe Tripp? Nah, just this part. Thank you very much. And somebody is chatting in the back. Probably doesn't happen. This doesn't happen to me too much in the first day because kids are just in that honeymoon period and they're so excited and they want to know what's going on. But I would just stop what I'm doing. And I'd point up to my rule. I'm not going to say the kid's name. I'm not going to make a big deal about it. I'm just going to stop what I'm doing and let them know that in order for me to actually teach, it needs to be quiet. There can't be side conversations happening. There can't be English blurting if that's happening. It needs to be quiet. And I'm the one who has to exude the calmness and the confidence. Even though in my mind, I'm often not real confident. I'm sometimes spinning. But on the outside, I really want to try to maintain that calm. So, taking a deep breath sometimes. Maybe it's uncomfortable sometimes, but I don't think so. And then I continue. So what do I teach on the first day? Well, I teach that my name is Profe Tripp. They usually get a few words. And after go into a little bit of movement. Okay, what we're going to do next. Two things. since I didn't have this, I'll show you what my template looks like, my seating chart template. I make a new one every quarter, so you get new seats every quarter. But I want to have this the first day. I really do. I'm a seating chart person. And I think it helps. So the first day, if I don't know the kids, I just do it alphabetical because I don't know them anyway. And then after a week or two, I got, because I didn't have my binder, the thing that I usually have kids come out of the classroom in the first 10 minutes to do is the password. And again, thanks Bryce for introducing this to me. This is something that gets kids patiently waiting in the hall for me to be ready to start class. It kind of gives me that time to breathe in between classes. That's the best part of it for me. There's the language aspect where they're getting a little phrase or a little chunk of language that they're going to rehearse before they get to class and they're going to say it to me. That's not the most important part of it for me at all. It's that time to breathe before they come into class and to make a connection with them, each one of them when they're coming through the door. It's like a funnel, right? If I'm here, I can't say hi to everybody when they're coming in, but when I'm at the door, I have to connect with every single one of them. And I think it keeps us on better terms. So
shameless plug. I'm presenting on that last
yes.
section of the day in here. So.
Thank you. I'm also presenting. That's why I didn't say anything.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. I was going to. Thanks for reminding me. So the first one I usually do is buenos dias, buenas tardes, if it's an afternoon class. And I got to rehearse it with them, right? I got to practice with them because these are newbies. Some of them might know buenos dias, but so I'm going to say this. This is what I say. I say, guys, at the beginning or before you guys come into class, before you guys come into Spanish class, you guys are going to line up outside of the classroom and wait for me. This is for me to talk with a student if I need to talk with somebody. It's for me to get the next lesson ready, for me to take a breath, and so I really appreciate you guys being patient and just hanging outside of the door until I've opened it up and I'm standing out there. Usually I'm there before many kids are there. Sometimes, though, they're all waiting for me. But this is the moment that I want them to all know what I'm expecting to do. So I have everybody come out. Hey, guys, there's other classes happening right now. It's got to be very quiet. You guys can talk, but you got to do it really quietly so that other classes aren't being interrupted. That would put me in the water with other teachers, I'm sure. So I go out, come out, have them up against the wall. If there's a door, to make sure that they're not blocking any doors to other classrooms. And then I just have them tell me the password, buenos dias. And in the first day, I might just be like, I'll say it for you. I'll just say buenos dias to you, and you can just wave at me. Buenos dias. And I'll just wave and come in. Soon, most kids are like, oh, buenos dias, and they're really excited, right? So that's what I do, and then they all come in and they find their seats, and then we start a second time. So what am I going to do now? I'm going to talk a little bit more about with my students. clase. Profe Tripp. Mira. La luna. Sí, sí. Profe Tripp, mira la luna. La luna. Profe Tripp, mira la luna. Profe Abra. No mira. Profe Tripp, mira a Bryce. Sí, sí. Pero Profe Tripp, mira la luna. What's mira mean? Mira. What's mira? Looks at, right? In la luna? La luna? What's that? Moon. Okay. Profe Tripp, mira la luna. Profe Tripp, mira la luna en Nevada? No. Profe Tripp, no mira la luna en Nevada. No. No. Profe Tripp, mira la luna en Alaska? No, no mira la luna en Alaska. Profe Tripp, mira la luna en Decorah. Decorah, yeah, Decorah. Yeah, Profe Tripp, mira la luna en Decorah. So, I've just picked out something really simple about myself. I will not get into much detail this first class at all. Basically, one simple sentence about myself. And I want to keep room for a little bit of extra information that I can give my students to keep them a little bit in suspense. But I don't have to do too much to keep kids engaged today. They're already going to be locked in and ready to go. So save some of the fun stuff, the exciting stuff, and just start calm and slow, setting the expectations that when I say something, you guys are going to give me some sort of response. It doesn't have to be, oh, I mean, for me, it can be. Some people do that, actually used to do that, but I'm not doing that right now. I tell kids that their responses I can see on their faces. Sometimes it's when I said Decorah, a couple of people are like, yeah, I know Decorah. Other people might not understand what I'm saying. They might not know where Decorah is, and they might say. So you're communicating with me just with your face and your eyes. And sometimes with your voice when you're saying no or see. But I want to make sure that I leave room for those nonverbal responses. And I want to make sure that I'm giving expectations that I want them to respond to me. I need them to respond to me. Your guys' goal is to let me know that you understand. And my goal is to speak in ways that you can understand. But I can't do that if you're not letting me know that you understand. It might be a response to my comments, to my statements, or to my questions. So when this sentence, what I'd like you guys to do is come up with one sentence that you could start out the year with introducing yourself. Not like it shouldn't be like how many kids you have, where you lived, where you studied Spanish, all this stuff, but maybe one of those things. Or maybe just something super mundane like, I sit out in my backyard and look at the moon sometimes. And I like that. And it's really simple. But keep it very simple. It should just be like a verb and a noun, and that noun could be a proper noun. It could be Big Macs, Profe Tripp, come Big Macs. Profe Tripp, no come Big Macs. But you get the idea. Something very simple. So will you guys come up with one sentence that you could introduce yourselves to your students that would allow you to set the expectations of what the class is going to be like. You guys don't have any paper yet. I'm going to give you this because you're going to be using this anyways in a moment. Actually, why don't you guys go ahead? I'll just have you do this next. Make yourself a little card. Write your name up at the top and draw that thing. Just draw a little picture that goes with your sentence. Go. Oh, do I have just enough? I think I do. Yeah. God, you want one?
Oh, that's so cute.
Is that enough? One more minute? Awesome. Everybody has drawn something that they like to do or that they're interested in or that maybe they're good at. That's I think Emily is drawing a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. I'm not sure.
No one's going to get it. No one's going to get it. Mind your business. Well, I'm not going to draw a tiny body now.
All right, about 30 more seconds.
Are you kidding me? I'll do it.
No.
Yeah, but I like to make
That's supposed to be Pitbull. They're recording all this.
Oh.
That's true.
Well, yeah.
I'm done with it. I mean,
And sometimes you get
All right, clase. Was that enough time? Everybody ready? Awesome. We're going to do something real quick. We're just going to pause on that really quick. But would you guys just set that up so that I can see it? This is so that I can see students' names, so that I can make the connections with the names from day one and start learning them. It usually takes me about a week. And then after about a week, I can take those off the table because sometimes they become more of a distraction. Kids want to write, scribble all over them and stuff. So I usually take them after the first week, and I keep them in separate bundles for class. And then throughout the year, I'm pulling these out. This is an activity called Card created by Ben. And it's because it works really well. I've infused a lot of their strategies. Bryce has brought into the mix special person interview strategies and questioning. But I to help keep working. Profe dice Profe dice. Dice means says. Profe. Do the things that I say, okay? We're just going to play a little kind of like Simon says. All right. Profe dice, se levanta. Mm-hmm. Profe dice, mira a Profe Tripp. Profe dice, mira a Diane Neubauer. You guys show me, just so I know you understand. Will you guys do this for me? Mira a Diane. Uh-huh. Profe dice, mira la luna. Profe dice, mira la luna rápido. Profe dice, corre. Corre means runs. Yeah, runs. Bueno, yeah. Profe dice, corre rápido. Yeah. Okay. Se sienta. Obviously, total physical response, it is, this has gone back like 40 some years, 50 maybe. James Asher. I constantly am infusing these TPR, total physical response. I don't total physical response or TPR to my students. I used to, but then they're like, TPR? What are you talking about? I think they get the Simon Says, the Profe Dice much better. But I am constantly infusing these into my my first few months, really. But especially I'll stop class 2, 3, 4 times in an hour and do Profe Dice, just to switch it up. Sometimes it's just for me because I'm sick and I don't know what else to say about Profe Tripp Mira la Luna, and I'm like, se levanta, and then usually that gives me on keep moving, gives a stretch and all that.
Brain break.
A brain break, yes, thank you. All right, I'm going to pick a card now. But you know, when you guys were drawing these cards, when you guys were writing on them, I didn't do what I would say to my students. Usually, I just don't say anything. And this is what I would do. Because I want to really keep it quiet in here this first day. I don't want to give much room for side chatter to just start. I want the expectation to be like, Spanish class is really, really quiet. For now. I mean, it's not boring, but it's just really quiet. There doesn't have to be a bunch of English floating around all the time. So what I do is I pass out those cards and I show them. Pass out the papers. Pass out the markers. I forgot to pass you guys out the markers. Pass out some markers. And then I just say a couple things really quickly. Please write your first name big enough so that I can see it. Bigger than that. And draw a very, very simple picture of something that you like to do, something that you're good at, something that you're interested in. And a favor, I know a lot of you are really into sports, football, volleyball, basketball. That's awesome. if you can think of something else that maybe sets you apart from the other kids in the classroom, that would be really awesome if you would draw that thing. If a sport is really your thing, if football is really your thing, and that's what you want to talk about, or if that's what you want to draw, please feel free to do that. When I do that, when I say that, and then I let them go. And when I say that, basketball, volleyball, football, basketball, musician, or a musical instrument. But I still get sports. Here's Rose's dog, TJ. I'll tell you right now, the name of the person I start out with this kid. I can remember them. These are all my Spanish 1 students from this year. TJ Pesca. TJ Pesca. TJ Pesca in El Rio, Mississippi. That was about the first day. That was about all we found out about him. TJ Pesca in El Rio, Mississippi. No in El Rio, Turkey. No in El Rio, Missouri. TJ Pesca in El Rio, Mississippi. Talked with him for about 5 or 10 minutes. Maybe the thing we learned about him. Hunter canta. Hunter canta en la ducha. Hunter canta Chance the Rapper en la ducha. Emily juega. That's a basketball, no? Yeah. Juega basketball. Juega basketball por MFL Marmac. Juega basketball con. There was like 3 girls in the class, right? Con Emily y con Carly y con Melissa. Melissa juega basketball también. Gigi dibuja. This was actually the very first student in her class. Gigi dibuja. Gigi dibuja flores. All right. Thank you, Diane. Diane just alerted to me that my speech is incomprehensible. If this was actually a class where I was trying to teach you this language, I would definitely stop. I would write dibuja up on the board, no doubt about it. Write what it means, and thank Diane for being so brave and for letting me know. Last round of applause for Diane. Thank you, Diane. I appreciate that.
What did Diane do?
She went like this. Yeah. Diane let me know that I was not being comprehensible. I was not doing my job very well in that moment, so appreciate it.
I still want to know what.
Dibuja. Too bad. Go look it up, Diane. Dibuja means draws, yeah. Gigi dibuja flores y osos perezosos. Dusty, etc., etc. You guys get the point, I think. So I keep them really simple. I just think of one verb. When I pick out a card, I'm thinking of one verb that I can use to talk about my students. The other stuff, the tiene, the quiere, puede, that stuff all naturally emerges in my classroom over the course of the year. So my students until January, I'm okay with that. I always have an adage from Scott Benedict, who's back here in my head, teach for June. I think it's okay. Usually they do know puede before that, but not always. And aren't you doing a presentation on this right after, right here? Awesome. Yeah, you should stay for that for sure. I remember Lane Ray workshop once, and when do you teach the Super 7 verbs? When do you do that? Like over the entire first year. Just the entire first year. Yeah. So when they come up, usually tiene is the first for me. Usually tiene happens when I'm talking about myself. I'll be like, yeah, yo tengo una casa. Yo tengo una casa, or something like that, right? But I'm always doing it really slow. I don't care if I get to that first week, second week, third week. But usually it comes up in the first week or two. Usually quiere comes up in the first week or 3. Usually puede comes up in the first couple months. Dice, of course, happens pretty quick. But it takes time. They got to hear those over and over and over and over. Whereas words like dibuja, pesca, mira, it's like they just automatically acquire them because the verbs have a different kind of visual with them. And those verbs just kind of keep everybody locked in together easier, I feel. But then when I do teach... That does help, right. Yeah, but it's not just dibuja, it's Gigi dibuja flores. It's a whole chunk and it sticks with them. And then when I do teach those, I'm going to give sign. I do sign language. Tiene, quiere, puede. I do those. All right, so I want to make sure that I want to talk about one person here quickly. So clase, Profe Bachman, clase, mira a Profe Bachman. Mira a Profe Bachman. Profe Bachman. Corre. Usted. Usted. Corre. Profe Bachman. Corre. Profe Bachman corre. Corre en Nevada. No corre en Nevada. ¿Usted corre en Decorah? No corre en Decorah. Oh, eso. ¿Usted corre ¿Dónde? And at this point, I'm going to introduce my first question word. Usually it's not donde, but in this case it is. And I need to stop, and I need to go up to my question words, which are up on the board, and I'm going to point to them. And I want to show you guys something. You guys are just too quiet and too good. I haven't even been able to use my laser pointer to point at this rule here that nobody's violating. But you know, like I really do think it's good. Or if you got like a stick or something to point at it, but you might be a little bit shaky. I want to give you a tip for keeping your hand, because you know sometimes you're trying to point at something and you might start shaking, right? Because you're nervous. Hold it with two hands next to your side.
I've done one too in a situation with mucha caffeine.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Right. So could we give an applause to Profe Bachman, por favor? Profe Bachman. Thank you. That was a super quick thing. But what are some other questions that we could ask her? You know, you saw me get kind of stuck, right? I was like, what's my next question going to be? I couldn't think of one in the moment. What did I ask you? I said donde, right. I had to come up with a question to get some more information. So I was like, okay. I usually try to stick with either or yes or no questions in those first few classes. If I'm going to throw up a question, if I'm going to point to a question word and use it, I want to keep it to like one or maybe two that first week and introduce those slowly if possible. But in this case, donde just seemed to naturally arise, and so I wanted to use it. Donde corre usted? Hubbard? Jewel or Ojewel? Ojewel, huh. Ojewel, is that a city? Oh, Jewel, okay, I got you. Or, like, oh. Ah, yeah, you're talking Spanish. Awesome.
We had a in my classroom this year, and the students loved the Spanish version of it more than the English. Dan Ishe.
What is that?
It's a group of band.
There's nice. I don't know them. All right, so I'm going to go through my cards here and figure out what I haven't touched on because we have 10 minutes left, and I want to make sure that what do you guys think of when you imagine the first day of class? Probably a lot of you are thinking like syllabus and getting through handouts that you need to send home, permissions maybe for parents and everything like that. I would really advise against that, especially the first day, but even maybe the first week. Most people don't start on Mondays, right? Usually start on like a Wednesday or something. I would say just hold off, or maybe send it home on the Friday. And keep it simple. Keep the syllabus simple. This is something Dustin Williamson. He created this visual syllabus on Canva that I saw about 4 or 5 years ago now, and I was like, I got to make one of those. My syllabus is so boring. It's all text, and nobody's reading it. Nobody read it, I'm sure. Maybe 2 kids, and maybe 1 parent. So this is something that I can send home with kids, and I usually print it on cardstock, and I send it home, and I say, hey, this is really important. I want you to bring it home after we've talked about it, like the 3rd or 4th day of class or something. I want you to bring it home, and I want you to maybe put it on the fridge or something. It's got my contact information. It's got the school website, the Spanish website. It's got some good visuals. And so I'll pass this around so you can look at it if you'd like. I think I've got an older copy on my blog, which is trippscripts.com. But this is, I don't know, I really like it. It's something I've kept using. I should probably just put one on each table. I think there's enough for one for each table, if you guys wouldn't mind passing those to the other tables. So syllabus, hold off on it. Wait off on all that stuff. Set the expectation, set the tone of what class is like first. We communicate in class. We communicate in Spanish class with each other. We get to know each other. We learn about what we are interested in. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you got the Spanish 4 syllabus. That's the boring one. Yeah, they get the special. Yep, sorry, I've only got that many. You have to pass them around. So hold off on that. I like to do a simple assessment one of those first couple days of class. So when you guys go ahead and answer these questions here, normally I would pass out a little piece of paper and the kids would self-assess, but I don't have those with me. So I'm just going to have you 1, 3. Basically, right? Consistently, promptly, you're doing these things. 3 is most of the time. 2 is sometimes. 1 is not at all. Interpersonal communication rubric. I think it was created by Harold, Ben Slavic, and Jen Shangala, but there was a whole lot of people in that. But I've borrowed most of that stuff and I've adapted it a little. So it's a 4-point scale, and I want you to rate yourself. How did you do today at communicating with me and your classmates and your colleagues? Respond to questions and statements. Did you not do that at all? 1? No, everybody did. Sometimes. 2. Most of the time. 3. Or basically always. Basically all the time. Respond to the questions and statements. Did you let me know that I was speaking comprehensively by giving me a response? Next one, did you follow the action with your eyes? This is a language I stole from Diane, actually, right here. Follow the action with your eyes. You say eye contact, right? Maintain eye contact. I think follow the action with your eyes is way better. Then they're not having to lock eyes with you all the time or feel like they have to. It's more of just looking at where things are going. At the board, at the student we're talking to, but just following things. Following what's going on. All right, so how did you do with following the action with your eyes? Now this one you are going to have to be honest about because I can't get into your head, but I can usually judge pretty well. Did you listen with the intent to understand today? Were you trying to understand my language today? Or the words coming out of my mouth? 4, basically always, 3, 2, or 1. Was your body language and attitude positive? 80% or more of everything that we say is nonverbal. So we can't be good communicators just by having the right words come out of our mouth or by hearing people perfectly. We also have to let them know with our bodies and our faces and our attitude. And did you avoid blurting English and engaging in side conversations? How'd you do? How'd you do? This is a really simple rubric. I've got it up on my downloads of my website, scripts.com. So you can download that there. And then I might ask some questions, a little quiz of sorts. What would be some questions that I would ask after the first day of class? Very simple ones. Yes or no questions. Either or questions. This might be 3 questions I would ask. Sometimes I'll just say, answer in your head or answer in your notebook. I'm not going to collect this. This is just for you to gauge your own comprehension. Class A. Sí o no. Sí o no. Yes or no. Profe Tripp mira la luna. That's easy, right? Super easy. We want to leave them feeling good and confident that they can do this. Profe Bachman corre en Nevada. Profe Tripp mira la luna o Profe Tripp corre. Mira la luna. I might not ask that question the first day, but yeah, why not? All right, so those are some example questions I would ask at the end of class.
And that's what you do with that? Is that just for you to know who's got it and who doesn't, or do you put that in some sort of place for parents to see their kids who are participating?
That's a good question. So the rubric, the interpersonal communication rubric, and then the interpretive, the questions, it depends. I like to switch it up. Sometimes I'll pass that out and I'll have them fill it out and I'll just have them hold on to it. It's just maybe just to get them thinking. Maybe I want them to reflect on their own performance. Other times I'll have them fill it out and then I'll come around the classroom and I'll just in the actual, while they're just hanging out here, I'll quickly run around the classroom and I'll look at things. Maybe I'll put up 5 questions on the board and have them answer those, and I'll just be coming around. And if I think that somebody is way off, I might mark that or circle that and be like, I don't know. Other times I'll collect them and I'll use them for a grade. I do an interpersonal communication grade every 2 to 3 weeks, and the same maybe interpretive grades I do one every 2 to 3 weeks as well. So most just for them. It's like a formative for them to self-assess. Yeah, I think that I've gotten through everything I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to see. I didn't leave enough room for you guys to practice. One thing I wanted you to do, and I want you to maybe consider doing this, just maybe getting with a group of people at some point, or maybe with your family or your friends, and just pick something up and not say a word for a minute, and just try to keep their attention. Smells good. Smells good. I don't. Try to remain calm without having to be moving your mouth to get more comfortable breathing, and it's going to be hard when you're in a group of students. But so we got 1 minute. Any questions? Sorry, left a lot of time for questions. as much as I need to, but definitely once every 3 weeks. Just so that I have some sort of documentation that I'm actually doing teacher work, grades and stuff. But if I don't have to, man, sometimes I don't need to. But some groups, they really need that reminder. These are my expectations. You got to self-assess today. How'd you do?
So another question tailored to that.
Mm-hmm.
If the student's absent, what do you do?
Depends. If it's a student that I don't need to worry about, I can just make a calculation in my head of what their grade would be. I know that if it's a kid that definitely needs to reflect on these things, I would give it maybe to him separately, or I'd make sure that kid had some sort of documentation of their interpersonal communication. There was another question, yeah.
I like how you did, how she didn't understand how to do something like that, because I think I don't slow down enough. But do you find, especially at the beginning, there might be a kid that's always going like this, and then what do you do about that?
Maybe. I had a kid, I had 2 kids actually in one class, and they wanted to raise their hand about every single word that they didn't know immediately. And to a point, I want them to do that, right? But then these kids were taking it to the extreme. They're really good kids. They really did it. They were doing it in goodwill, not just to be annoying. So I just had a conversation with them. I said, you guys are exceeding my expectations so much on this thing, on clarifying when you don't understand. I appreciate it so much. I want you to try something, though. I want you to try to wait about 3 seconds or 5 seconds, or maybe wait until you've heard it the second or third time and you didn't know it, just to maybe lower their, because they're do it. Just don't don't doing it, not doing it at all. Talk about that was one thing. How you can get kids to feel comfortable clarifying meaning and letting you know that they don't understand without using the words. Without using the words. A sign. Every one of those should have a sign so that they don't have to speak in order to that thing. Any other questions quick? And then I really should end. Because Scott, you could come up and start setting up if you need to.
When you gave us time to write out our cards, that would be when I would expect that all the students would start speaking to each other in English. How would you handle that?
That's why I really try to keep everything quiet for that first part of class. And then I ask them to do it quietly, but I don't mind if there's a little bit, but usually it's not because I'm so quiet at the beginning of class, and I make sure that and if there was some kids talking, I might come over, and and you know how I was doing that positive narration? I was saying, I might have said a name. Kelsey's drawing her object, her picture, really clearly. I can tell exactly what that is. And Emily wrote her name perfect size. And so I'm the one that they're listening to versus them starting to chat. I might do that. All right. I'm going to end it there so that Scott can set up. But thank you guys. If you have any questions, let me know. Happy to talk to you outside. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. See ya.